Is this for real? Like, is this guy like Sandy Koufax II? All right, moron Cards fans. What? Good morning, my people, and welcome to Birdseeds. I'm Tara Wellman. Shout out to Carlos Martinez for dominating literally every newsfeed everywhere, pretty much all week. And for good reason, despite whatever Doug Gottlieb had to say. Speaking of, what a week to be a Cardinals fan, am I right? We kicked things off with Bill Murray out at the John Deere Classic. Hey, that's my hometown PGA tourney. I see you, Jordan Spieth. Well done, sir. As Bill Murray does, he was chatting it up with some fans along the course during the Pro-Am and told one Cardinals fan that Cardinals fans are Satan's messengers on Earth. What? I hope none of y'all were actually outraged about anything that he said, for a couple of reasons. First of all, he's a Cubs fan. He's supposed to feel that way. And two, the guy's a comedian. He says outrageous things that make people laugh for a living. Okay? So let's dial it back a little bit, laugh it all off, and realize that's exactly what we should have expected from Bill Murray at the JDC. And then there's the aforementioned Gottlieb, who attempted to revoke the rights of sports fans to talk sports with their friends ever if they voted in a fan-based competition for the player on their team to get to the fan-based All-Star game. How dare you, Cardinals fans? Such morons. Here's the thing. Should Clayton Kershaw be an All-Star? Absolutely. Is he having the year of his life? Absolutely not. But the guy has set the bar for what pitching should look like today, and that deserves recognition, absolutely. But so does what Carlos Martinez has done this year. He's probably not going to win the Cy Young. He may not maintain this pace all the way through the year, but what he's done has been remarkable, and it's been fun to watch, and it's gotten a lot of people involved in seeing this kid's progression, and that deserves recognition too. Is he more deserving of a spot on the All-Star team than Clayton Kershaw? Probably not, but it's a fan-voted contest. More deserving kind of goes out the window. As long as Major League Baseball involves fans in determining the All-Star Game roster, those voters are going to be influenced by their fandom in picking players from their team, and that's perfectly fine, no matter what Doug Gottlieb says. Now, do I like the fact that those fans can then essentially determine home field advantage in the World Series for the players? Absolutely not, but that's a different argument. And when the point of the final vote is to encourage a fan base to get behind the player from their team and vote them on to the roster, it's kind of silly to turn around and reprimand a fan base for doing just that. Anyway, the All-Star game happened. It was kind of boring. Johnny Peralta got the National League on the board with an RBI base hit. Yachty had a base hit of his own. None of the Cardinals All-Star pitchers appeared in the game, possibly by request of Mike Matheny, and hey, I don't mind them getting a little extra rest, so I'm a-okay with that. To be honest, the newly improved home run derby was way more exciting. Good job on fixing that, Rob Manfred. Maybe work a little on the All-Star game next, okay? The most entertaining part of the night was probably during the introductions, when the good old Cincinnati faithful pulled out the boos big time. Not only for Yadier Molina and Johnny Peralta and Matt Holliday, but also Carlos Martinez and Trevor Rosenthal. Even Albert Pujols, just by relation, got the Cincinnati boos. I mean, these guys are hardcore when it comes to booing their most hated team. Oh, Reds fans, don't ever change. As for real baseball, the Cardinals will be back in action against the Mets this weekend and then the White Sox once again. And after tumbling into the All-Star break, they could really use a hot start to the second half, especially with the Pirates charging, now just 2.5 games back. As frustrating as it was watching the Cardinals stumble into the All-Star break, losing what was at one point, a 9.5 game lead in the Central, now just down to 2.5, a lot of things line up well for this Cardinals team going into the second half. Primarily, a lot of the guys that were injured and not out for the season will likely be coming back at some point, starting with Matt Holliday and Jaime Garcia. Both guys slated to come back, as far as we know, into a regular routine out of the All-Star break. Matt Holliday intends to be back for this Mets series, and I don't think you can really overstate how significant that is, not just because of the production that Matt Holliday brings to the lineup, but because where you can slot in Johnny Peralta, the fact that he's now playing with a Jason Hayward that's producing more consistently, and what it might do for Matt Carpenter in taking some of the pressure off. And then, of course, he's going to see better pitches with a guy like Matt Holliday hitting behind him. So getting Holliday back can certainly right the offense a little bit. And then if you get Jaime Garcia back after the groin strain and some time off, the additional time off with the All-Star break, hopefully he's back in action and ready to go. As scary as it is to kind of depend on Jaime Garcia sometimes because of the history of health issues, there's no denying what he brought to this team as they really struggled to find that fifth starter, and he pitched more like a 1 or a 2 starter than a number 5. And in the absence of Adam Wainwright going into the second half of the season, it's going to be very important to get the best out of Jaime Garcia. A couple of other good notes. They play 14 of 16 games at home to start the second half. They have the best home record in baseball by a pretty significant margin, so that bodes well. They also play a lot of teams under 500 in the second half, and they don't see the Pirates again until the middle of August. So there's time to make up some of that difference, some of those games that they lost heading into the All-Star break, and give themselves a little bit more cushion for the next time the Pirates come to town. There are a few troubling trends, however, that this team will need to deal with moving forward. One is that they're leaving entirely too many runners on base, particularly in scoring position. They're averaging 3.6 runners in scoring position left on the bases per game. And whether it's loading the bases with nobody out and a double play and a strikeout ends the inning with just 1 run crossing the plate, or not being able to come up with the big hit with 2 outs late in the game, they're leaving too many opportunities on the table, and they're going to have to make some of those adjustments to score a little more consistently and give the rotation a little bit more breathing room, because that's the next thing. This rotation was really designed to be able to give guys like Carlos Martinez and Michael Wacha a little bit of extra space in the second half of the season, a few extra days here and there, maybe not go 7 or 8 innings every time. But without Adam Wainwright in that rotation, that's not going to be as possible, or at least not as easy. Certainly Tyler Lyons, Tim Cooney, Carlos Villanueva are there to provide a little bit of backup, but do you really want to count on that for the duration of the season? So those starters are going to need to be very efficient. The offense is going to need to provide them a little bit more cushion. And then the bullpen. This is what really concerns me going forward without Jordan Walden and Matt Belisle, because again, we talked about this last time, you get down to just a few guys that you trust in that bullpen, and then they get overused. So getting Jordan Walden back is, I think, a very significant key to the second half. Matt Belisle coming back would eventually stabilize that even more, and then they can fill in some of those innings that you're not going to give to Carlos Martinez or Michael Wacha going forward. All 3 facets of the game, the offense, the starting pitching, and the bullpen, have some serious question marks going forward. Obviously, health is the primary key for this Cardinals team moving forward. However, with the trade deadline rapidly approaching, it appears there are some obvious opportunities for John Mozeliak to improve this ball club if he should so choose. Whether it's a lefty first baseman, help in the bullpen, maybe an additional starter to eat up some of those innings and solidify the rotation. So here's my question. If you're John Mozeliak, what do you do? Check out the Cast app, place your vote, Fan voting, again, we're back to that, yes. What do you mean you don't have the Cast app? What are you doing with your life? I'll post a link to vote down in the description box, but seriously, go download the app and then follow me, and you'll see all the questions that I ask. Get ready for all the fastballs, because Lance Lynn kicks things off in the second half against the Mets tonight, and we'll see you back here next week on Birdseeds.